Welcome to the Italian Football Podcast.
Yeah, well, let's talk about one of the players that really garnered a lot of attention, and rightfully so, and a guy that I have been on the record as saying I absolutely adore as a player for a variety of reasons. But the technical, not so quick fullback with a ton of technical and tactical awareness are my all-time favorites, which is why Federico Dimarco is one of my favorites at the moment for the Azzurri. I mean, Carlo, as you alluded to, he stood out. He was phenomenal. What do you make of him?
Well, I think Nima will certainly give more detail than me, because I know that Nima has been a fan of him for a long time, and a long time before it became popular to be a fan of him. You're now seeing a lot of people jump on the bandwagon now, and praise Dimarco. And I'll be honest, I was never hard on him. I doubts I've had of Dimarco are I'm still not 100% convinced how suitable he is in a back four. But there's one thing that there is absolutely no doubt with Dimarco: his delivery, his left foot is world class. I'm not calling him a world class player, of course he's not, but I'm saying his delivery is as good as anybody in world football. If you put him in an area on the pitch, that's within 30 yards of the goal on the left, he will put it in on a sixpence wherever you want it. He will put it in the dangerous area. He'll whip it in with pace so you can attack it. And his left foot is unbelievable, whether it's from a cross, whether it's from a free kick, a dead ball, whether it's from a shot on goal, whether it's from a corner. He is as good as anyone in the world with his left foot. And if you can Italy could just play him and put him in a position where he can use that left foot, then he's a huge weapon. And he showed that in these two games.
One would almost say that his left foot is a cheat code. Someone once said,
Ding, ding.
3, 4. Yeah, well, it's true. I mean, this is what I saw. I mean, it wasn't hyperbole, because I've seen him do this exactly like you said. I mean, my first thing with him was during the 18-19 season, when he was on loan at Parma, and he scored an absolute screamer against Inter at the San Siro to beat Inter. That's when I was like, okay, hang on, what have we got here? And then, of course, he got injured after that, and he came back after the midway point of the Serie A season and didn't exactly make much fuss at Parma. But we are talking about someone who is born in Milan. He's from Calvairate. It's a quarter in Milan, and his parents have a ortofrutta in Porta Romana, which is like fresh fruit and vegetable shop.
Wow!
And he's got a younger brother, Cristian, who's also a football player. This kid came up he's an Interista through and through. Grew up going to the Curva Nord. Grew up watching Inter. Grew up playing in every level at Inter, as just like his brother. He's also from Milan. Now, those of you who are listening to this, say, well, wasn't Biraghi from Milan? Well, technically not. He's from Cernusco sul Naviglio, which is about 11 kilometers northeast of Milan. It's part of metropolitan city of Milan, but not really the city of Milan like Dimarco is. And this is something that I believe is good for every club. The same way that Roma always has, the captain of Roma has to be a Roman guy. I think this is good for Inter and for Milan to have. I mean, Maldini was born and bred in Milan. I think this is good to have players of high quality who are from the city. I think this, that the fans can identify with, and also it's a bridge between the fans everywhere and the squad. But if we're talking about him as a player himself, I mean, like I said, at Parma it went really, really well. Or it's that goal, and then he was injured and he didn't do so well. And then he was sent he returned to Inter, and Antonio Conte didn't really believe in him as much. He preferred Cristiano Biraghi, which I was a vocal opponent of, because Cristiano Biraghi is not my favorite player in the world. And I'm really disappointed, because Cristiano Biraghi was a player who I actually really wanted to do well at Inter, but he's just simply not good enough. Then something happens, and then he's sent on the 31st of January 2020, he's sent to Verona on a loan with an option to buy. And that's when when Ivan Juric gets his hands on him, that's when the change and transformation comes. That's when you start to see the player the development that really, really surprised me and everyone else. And I started taking note, and I watched pretty much every single game of Verona because of Juric and him. And of course, the 2021 season when Inter win the Scudetto, he scores 5 goals, one more beautiful than the other in the Serie A. And I'm really thinking, well, unless Verona, you have to bring this guy back because he's an Interista for all the reasons I've mentioned. And it is that's the thing. He's not a very tall player. He's 176 centimeters tall. He's not very good in the air. Sorry, 175. He's not very good he's not very pacey. But what he can do, he's decent in short bursts and in sprinting. Yeah. But what he is good at is that left foot. And it's everything from free kicks, long shots, crosses, hard, low, and overlaps to provide those crosses. If you provide him with the right players and the right environment around him, he can really, really hurt you. He can really do a job for you and hurt your opponents. So no, I'm a big fan of this guy.
What does he need to improve on?
He needs to improve on his positioning. Without a doubt, he needs to improve on his positioning because he can still get caught out. And we've seen it Inter time and time again. Understanding and read of the game of when to drop and when to push up. That's still something he needs to work on. He can improve on also if he can, if they can get him to be a little bit more physical. Maybe obviously they can't teach him how to, be good in the air, but he can improve that as well. And also the physical aspects. They're never going to.
I was impressed with how he battled in these 2 games. I was. Yeah, but I thought he showed a good mentality and a good.
Yeah, that's mentality. But I'm talking about the actual physical attributes. I mean, he sometimes he looks he runs out of gas in games, and he's like he can barely it's as if he's he's got. He's so tired he can barely walk.
The only thing that I thought that the only negative in these 2 games for him is that and I've seen it a few times for Inter as well. He had a few bad clearances where just sloppy clearances where he just put it into the center of the field and allowed the opposition to have counters.
Yeah, because he gets stressed. He doesn't have the experience yet. But I mean these are things that you can adapt. He's never going to be a world class aerial good in the air. He's never going to be world class in the air, which is also why Simone Inzaghi needs to stop playing him as a left centre back. That's something that Ivan Juric did to sometimes when teams used to block the wing, and he would want him to have somewhat centrally have him run forwards and provide crosses, and teams were prepared for that. But he has to play. He's a wing back. He's a left wing back, and that's his position, and that's where he should be played. And I hope that Simone Inzaghi watched these 2 games and saw that.
Listen to the full show and all other episodes by going to patreon.com/TIFP and become a member for only $2.99 per month.